Sandra showed up at the house by 8 a.m. probably after his first panicked phone call. The fight between them was legendary. Samantha had a gloriously nosy neighbor who also happened to be an old client. According to her, there was screaming on the front lawn. Accusations, blame, crying. The kind of public humiliation money can't fix. The neighbor called the police for a domestic disturbance. Beautiful. The soulmates were finally turning on each other the second the money disappeared. That same afternoon, Dean tried accessing his college fund to pay his dorm deposit for the state university he'd been bragging about for months. Surprise. The account was empty. Samantha said he called her office in complete panic, convinced there had been a banking mistake. She calmly explained there was no mistake. The account had always been under my sole legal control. The funds had been withdrawn. Legally. Apparently he cried. Sophie got her lesson in the school cafeteria. She tried buying lunch. Her debit card declined. Her friends had to cover it. Public humiliation is an excellent teacher. Welcome to adulthood, princess. But Brandon went nuclear. The package was delivered to the high school during lunch. He opened it in his classroom, and instead of quietly leaving, he went scorched earth. He posted everything. Photos, messages, receipts, the whole disgusting truth. He wrote a long, devastating post about betrayal, trust, and the two people who had destroyed his family. Then he tagged them. Luke, Sandra, and, for extra efficiency, the local community Facebook group. The entire town knew by dinner. Luke and Sandra tried damage control. Some vague post about going through a difficult private family matter and asking for privacy. That went over exactly as well as you'd expect when everyone had already seen screenshots of you in your sister-in-law's bed. The comment section was a bloodbath. The work situation detonated the next morning. Sandra actually showed up to the office, like nothing had happened. Emma was waiting. Calm, prepared, and now, effectively, the new boss. Security escorted my sister out of the building she used to walk into like she owned it. Sandra screamed about wrongful termination. The company lawyer shut that down immediately with the file documenting her expense fraud, company misuse, and drinking on the job. Even better, she had already taken out a loan for a luxury car based on the salary from her new promotion. A promotion built on a trap. Now she was unemployed, getting divorced, drowning in debt, and publicly humiliated. Poetry. The weeks that followed were a strange mix of legal warfare and personal rebuilding. While they were drowning in the fallout I was quietly learning how to breathe again. I explored my new neighborhood. Found a small coffee shop where the barista knew my order by day 3. Took long walks by the water. Sat in silence without feeling afraid of it. I was decompressing from 2 years of holding my breath. The divorce, according to Samantha, was the cleanest, quickest train wreck I've ever seen. Luke's lawyer tried. Of course he tried. He argued abandonment. Claimed Luke deserved half of everything. Even asked for significant alimony because of his years as a stay-at-home father. Samantha actually laughed. Then she sent over the full evidence file. Affair, conspiracy, financial manipulation, the children's involvement, Sandra's misuse of company funds. It was overwhelming. At the settlement meeting, Luke's lawyer reportedly reviewed the evidence for 10 minutes, went pale, and asked for a recess. When he returned, he advised Luke to take whatever was offered. They tried one final desperate move, claiming emotional abuse, that my demanding career had somehow driven him into my sister's arms. The judge, a no-nonsense woman who clearly had no patience for stupidity, was not impressed. According to Samantha's delighted retelling, she looked directly at Luke and said, "You are claiming emotional abuse, Mr. Evans, while documenting your affair in your wife's office using her money to do it? Pause. Get out of my courtroom with that nonsense." I almost framed that quote. The final settlement was brutal. He got exactly what the law required, not 1 penny more. After the house sale and final division, Luke walked away with around $225,000. That sounds like a lot, until you realize he had no real career, no recent work history, no practical plan, and a reputation so radioactive no one in town wanted to touch him. That money wouldn't last 2 years, especially not for a man used to living like he earned mine. There were no custody battles. Dean was nearly 18. Sophie was old enough to make her own choices. The court noted their complicity. I kept everything. I kept my life. And my parents, that was its own special disaster. At first, they tried neutrality. There are two sides to every story, Sydney, my mother said during one tearful phone call. That ended the moment Samantha, at my request, sent them a condensed evidence file. My father called me the next day, not to ask how I was, to apologize for raising Sandra. His exact words were, "I raised a daughter who became a piece of trash." He told me he was already speaking to his lawyer about the family inheritance. Sandra would never see another dime. Cold? Maybe. Understandable? Absolutely. Betrayal of that magnitude changes everything. Not just your marriage. Not just your family. It changes the way you see trust, love, and even yourself. Luke's family, of course, tried to make me the villain. His mother posted a dramatic social media rant about what a heartless monster I was for abandoning my family. According to her, I was cruel, selfish, and vindictive. I had Samantha send her a polite legal letter, with a few carefully selected photographic attachments. Let's just say it's hard to defend your son when there are explicit photos of him and his wife's sister doing things that are definitely not family-friendly. I received one furious, badly misspelled email from my now ex-mother-in-law. I read it, laughed, and forwarded it to Samantha. They got very quiet after that. As for me, I was thriving. The new consulting business was exceeding every projection I had. Within months, I had 3 major projects lined up for the following year. I joined the gym I had signed up for before moving and started training seriously. Turns out Rage is an excellent personal trainer. Dating? Not yet. I wasn't ready. But apparently, a successful, fit, single woman in her 40s gets plenty of attention. Who knew? I bought myself the car I had always wanted, a sleek convertible Luke once called impractical. I paid cash. I also started seeing a therapist, not because I was drowning in sadness. I wasn't. Not because I felt guilty. I didn't. But because I needed to understand how I had ignored so many red flags for so long. I needed to make sure I would never betray myself like that again. They did not only betray me. For years, I had betrayed myself too by ignoring my instincts, by dismissing my discomfort, by choosing peace over truth. Never again. According to Samantha, Luke was living in a small 2-bedroom apartment, working retail at a big box store. Sandra was bouncing between friends' couches, struggling to find work because our industry is small and reputations travel fast. Brandon took his children and moved back to his hometown. Good for him. He deserved peace too. Our kids, that part is harder, because anger and grief live in the same house, and sometimes I still don't know which room I'm standing in. Dean had to scramble for student loans. His dream of attending the big state university disappeared overnight. Turns out when Dad isn't living off Mom's money anymore, community college starts looking pretty attractive. He got 2 part-time jobs. Reality arrived fast. Sophie started babysitting for neighbors. Imagine that. A teenager learning what work actually feels like. They tried everything to contact me. New social media accounts. New emails. Friends reaching out on their behalf. Blocked everyone. One night, a voicemail was sent to me by my lawyer. It was Sophie. She was crying. "Mom, please. Please call me back. I'm so sorry. I miss you." I listened to it 3 times. My thumb hovered over the callback button. Then I remembered the text. All clear, Mom's clueless. I deleted the voicemail. Dean wrote me a letter, pages of apologies. He said he was just a kid caught in the middle. Caught. That word made my blood boil. Caught suggests helplessness, like he was some innocent bystander dragged into chaos. No, you weren't caught. You deleted security footage. You lied. You covered for them. You were an accomplice. That wasn't confusion. That was choice. A few months later, Sophie sent a letter on her 16th birthday through her lawyer's office. 2 pages of apologies, regret, and promises to do better. She included an old photo of us from when she was little me carrying her on my shoulders at the beach. A beautiful memory used like emotional currency. Nice try. But remorse isn't proven with nostalgia. It's proven with accountability. Maybe one day, when they're older, when life has humbled them, when trust has been broken in their own hands, maybe, then they'll understand what they did. Maybe then they'll understand betrayal isn't just an event, it's a fracture that never fully heals. Or maybe they won't. Either way, I had to let them go, for my own survival. It felt like amputating a limb to save the rest of the body. Necessary and brutal. There are regrets. Of course there are. Mostly, I regret not seeing it sooner. I regret trusting people who saw love as weakness. I regret believing providing was the same as parenting. I assumed Luke staying home meant he was teaching our children values. Instead, he was teaching them convenience, manipulation, self-interest. And somewhere in that, I failed too. That part hurts. More than the affair, honestly, because I can replace money. I can rebuild a career. But realizing your children's moral compass was quietly breaking while you were busy funding their future, that stays with you. I still pray they find their way. I pray Dean and Sophie grow into people who understand integrity. I pray life teaches them what I clearly failed to. But prayer and trust are not the same thing. I still don't trust them. I don't know if I ever will. Some cuts heal. Some become part of your bones. I bought a house. Nothing extravagant. 3 bedrooms. A pool. A home office with complete silence and no one complaining about the sound of my keyboard. Mine. Completely mine. I even started teaching a small business class part-time at the local community college. Helping young people build something honest feels strangely healing. I started Pilates too. Unexpectedly therapeutic. It taught me something simple. Strength isn't loud. Sometimes strength is just learning how to hold yourself together. I made good friends, built a real support system. And for the first time in years, I made myself the priority, without guilt, without apology. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. According to Samantha, one of the fastest and cleanest she'd ever handled. The evidence was overwhelming. There was nothing left to argue. People still ask if I regret how I handled it, if maybe I should have chosen counseling, forgiveness, reconciliation, keeping the family together for the children. My answer? Hell no. They didn't just cheat. They conspired. They plotted. They made me a fool in my own home, on my own dime. And my children, the 2 people I would have died for, looked me in the eye and helped it happen. Some people would forgive that. Some would call that strength. Maybe. Or maybe it's just fear dressed up as virtue. I chose myself. For the first time in 19 years, I chose myself. And I am not sorry. 2 weeks ago, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Curiosity one. It was Luke. I don't know how he got the number. His voice sounded older. Smaller, like life had finally introduced itself. Sydney, please, just 5 minutes. I almost hung up, but I stayed because I wanted to hear it. You destroyed everything, he said, voice cracking. The kids hate me. I can't find a decent job. Sandra won't even talk to me anymore. I lost everything. I let the silence sit there for a second. Then I said, no, Luke, you didn't lose everything. You threw it away. I just stopped cleaning up after you. He started crying, actually crying. I loved you, he said. I really did. I got confused. For 2 years, I asked. Silence. That was answer enough. Then he asked the question I knew was coming. Are you happy? Was destroying our family worth it? And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't feel anger anymore, just pity. My voice was calm. I didn't destroy our family, Luke. You did that when you slept with my sister. I just refused to keep pretending. Then I hung up and blocked his number. Starting over wasn't easy, but God, it was worth it. Yes, I could have been the bigger person. I could have forgiven. I could have pretended the betrayal didn't cut as deep as it did. But why? Why should the betrayed always be asked to be graceful while the betrayers demand understanding? No, forgiveness is earned, not owed. And to any woman reading this who is going through something similar, you do not owe anyone your silence. You do not owe anyone your suffering. And you certainly do not owe forgiveness to people who built their happiness on your pain. If they have the audacity to betray, you let them face the fire. Sometimes healing doesn't look like peace. Sometimes it looks like walking away and never looking back.